Hey, here we are for Bennett Place 160. You're looking at some of the grounds now, and I'm walking on the original road that was here as General William Tecumseh Sherman and General Joseph E. Johnston negotiated the largest surrender of the entire Civil War, the hopelessness of the Confederate cause, that Robert E. Lee had already surrendered, that Richmond and Petersburg had already fallen. This is mid-April of 1865, and they are eventually going to meet between the lines here at a house that stood here that looked just like this. This is a historic house, moved here of the same type to represent what occurred here in April of 1865. And there are all sorts of incredible stories here, and I encourage you to look into it a little bit more. But in summary, you have, Johnston and Sherman are starting to talk while they negotiate some of the terms here in the Bennett Place. The Bennetts had been really dealt the hard hand of war, losing both sons here. They agreed to allow some of their house to be used, and in the house that stood on here that is the same size and shape, they negotiated the settlement in this actual room. So one of the early drawings shows right over there here at Bennett Place. They're going to negotiate surrender terms. In the meantime, General Wade Hampton and Judson Kilpatrick had been civil, but then they start arguing outside the house, like Johnston and Sherman are like breaking up the fight while they fight about who was winning at what part of the war. In any case, all of a sudden, here comes General Breckinridge. General Sherman produces a bottle of whiskey, and the way it goes is they enjoyed a drink, and Breckinridge started spouting out all the Southern demands, and Sherman said, hey, who's doing the surrender in here anyway? And he started to get more down to business, took another drink, put the bottle away, and that really angered Breckinridge, later calling General Sherman a hog. No Kentucky gentleman would have put that bottle away and taken another drink without us. And when he knew we needed it, and needed it bad with the end of the war coming. In any case, they come up with terms so generous to the South that they are not well received in Washington, to say the least. Edwin Stanton blows a gasket, says this will allow the South to reestablish slavery and to keep guns in their own arsenals. So those terms by President Johnston are totally rejected, and eventually Sherman and Johnston come up with basically the terms that Grant had given to Lee at Appomattox, with a few extra generous things in helping with transportation to the South, and they negotiate here the largest surrender of the Civil War, because it didn't just include Johnston's roughly 15 or 20,000 soldiers, but he is actually reinforced after the Battle of Bentonville in March of 1865. But then he also has influence and command over, soldiers in South Carolina, in Georgia, in Florida. So it's not the last surrender of the Civil War. We have one to come in Citronelle, Alabama. We have others to come, I believe, in Galveston, Texas, and then in the Trans-Mississippi with Stanwatie. But this is the largest one, and it is a story to learn about. So we encourage you to. They have a cool little museum here, and while you're in Raleigh, you can check out Alamance, you can check out Guilford Courthouse, you can check out Averisboro and Bentonville, and of course here at Bennett Place, where you're going to be met with a cool little museum, a small gift shop, and smiling people. Hope you can come.
Hello, this is Trace Atkins. To stay up to date on all the latest and coolest videos, please subscribe to the Trust YouTube channel. Preserve, educate, inspire.